Now, for a deeper analysis on where this week's local elections places the nation's future, we're joined by Professor Eun-mee of Ewha Women's University. Thanks so much for joining us. So, the ruling party took 2 out of 3 key posts in the Seoul metropolitan area, and this despite projections that the ruling party may have faced a big political loss for the government's handling of the ferry accident. What led voters in these particular regions to show confidence in the ruling party, or was the success driven by the personality of the candidates?
I wouldn't think this is giving upper hand to the ruling party. I think the opposition party did not present a real alternative, so I think they gave a second chance to the Park administration. So my interpretation, this is a real check and balance vote and not giving any party a vote of confidence.
Well, Professor, even though both the ruling and the opposition parties fared in their respective traditional strongholds, the gap with the rival party or independents was significantly narrowed in the latest elections. Do you think this is a temporary occurrence in the aftermath of the Sewol-ho ferry disaster, or is this a sign of changing political dynamics here in Korea?
I think this had more to do with the Sewol-ho ferry accident, but as I mentioned earlier, neither party successfully garnered the support of the people. They're still on a holding pattern, waiting to see what both parties are going to do. So the next month or so, until we head into the July election, I think this is a very critical moment where the challenges can turn into opportunity or disaster. If neither party presents a new alternative, this could lead to further problems for both parties.
And what's also worth mentioning from Wednesday's results is that 13 out of 17 elected educational superintendents are considered progressive, and this does seem to reflect the sentiment of parents following the recent ferry accident and the so-called angry parent bloc. What's your take?
First of all, this is a continuation of what we saw in the last presidential election, that women in their 40s were the casting voters. And this time, also, these are the young, the 40-some parents whose children also go to school and are very similar to the young victims in the Sewol-ho ferry. So education is key. The failed education system, the failing of the parents, and the older generation, I think, is what the angry 40 years parents saw in this election.
And what's next for President Park Geun-hye and her handling of state affairs now? Earlier today, she vowed to push forward with her economic and public reforms. Because she promised to overhaul her cabinet, and she hasn't nominated the prime minister candidate yet, she needs to show that she is going to overhaul her own cabinet and the Blue House. But her mandate that she claimed that she would do is to overhaul the whole national governance. It's not just about safety, but going much further into deep entrenched problems. In order for her to succeed in doing this, she has to do a bipartisan effort, and whether she can reach out to the other party will be a critical task. Finally, she needs to go beyond Sewol-ho ferry and show a new direction for the country as a whole. If she fails to do that, she may become a very early lame duck.
All right, so even with the breather from this election result, she has a lot on her shoulders. Professor, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us tonight.
Thank you. Good evening.